I thought we'd work into a balance today. So taking your time, come down onto your mat. So we're working with the hips. So obviously if there's anything going on with your lower back or your knees, you work with care. Always do what feels right for you. But you know me, I do it quite slowly. So we'll come onto our backs, keep the soles of your feet flat to the floor, knees are bent, and just wiggle around a little bit, really get a sense of your lower back and your spine being allowed to rest into the floor. And if you're just joining, just take your time. So we're just on the floor, keeping the knees bent because that relaxes the abdominal muscles. And then when the abdominal muscles at the front relax, and that helps your lower back settle a little bit deeper into the floor. And we just start for a few moments. If you place your hands on your hips, right hand on the right hip, left hand on the left hip. If you push down into the right foot and just lift the right hip up, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, let the hip drop. Then push down into the left foot to lift the left hip. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring the hip back down and breathe in between as you need to. Stop for a few moments, feel the back of your hips on the floor. Take your attention to the right foot, push down into the right foot to lift the right hip. So you're tilting slightly to the left. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let go, and the right hip will come down. Breathe in between. Push down into the left foot to lift the left hip. Feel the weight sink into the right side. Breathe in. Oh, excuse me, sneeze. And as you breathe out, let go, and the hip rest down onto the floor. And then draw your knees in towards you so you can feel the back of the body, the back of the lower back. Just stretch a little bit and rock from side to side. So we're just massaging the muscles in the lower back. So you're rocking side to side at first, and then come to centre, cross the right ankle on top of the left ankle. Hands can rest on the knees just for support really. Let the knees drop to the right, circle away from you and round to the left. Draw the knees in, circle round to the right and away and back in. So you can go quite big with the circles if it feels okay in your lower back, or you can stay quite small. If you've been, well, I was going to say if you were sitting, but whatever you've been doing today, twisting, walking, turning, whatever we're doing, our lower back's usually compressed by the end of the day, and it's just the way our bodies work. And then just cross the left ankle on the other side, and then we're just going to rotate round to the other side. So just massaging the lower back as comfortably, I suppose, as easy as we can, and we're using the weight of our body to help release the muscles. And then when you come back to centre, take your hands underneath the knees, ease the knees down, draw your chin slightly down, be aware of your breath coming in, and as you breathe out, ease the knees a little bit closer. Breathe in. As you breathe out, ease the knees a little bit closer, and they'll just go to where they go, and then let go, and then bring the feet back on the floor. Stop for a few moments, and if it's okay, bring the right knee in towards you, hands underneath the knee, circle the right ankle a few times one way and then the other way, wiggle your toes, and then we're going to place the right hand on the right knee and just rock the right knee from side to side, just rocking the right knee from side to side, taking your time. So the hip joints, remember hip joints are ball and socket joints, they're circular joints, so they respond to circles. So first of all we're going to the side, and now we just start to circle. So you can imagine there's a circle drawn on the ceiling above you, and just trace that circle with your knee. So even though I say we're circling the knee, really have that sense that you're working deep, deep, deep inside into your hip. And then start to circle the other way. Oh, I can feel my hips starting to click. Clicking is okay, it's just the release of gases inside the joint. It's quite good if it starts to click, even though it can sound a bit weird to ourselves. And then when you're ready, just let that right knee drop out to the right, so the right hand can support it, so you feel that stretch on the inner thigh, the adductor muscles on the inside, as you just let the knee go out to the right. And then bring the knee back up, bring the hand on the outside of the right knee, and then see if you can bring that right knee over the top of the left knee. So now you feel that stretch on the outside of the right hip. And you can, if you like, with your right hand, just lightly pat or tap the right hip. And if you can, send your both knees all the way over to the right, all the way over to the left. And then with the knuckles of your right hand, just massage around your lower back. So it's a really good way to warm up those muscles and to help them to lengthen, I suppose, and just stretch and ease a little bit more, because they can be so tight by the end of the day. And it's not just with the way that we move, but it's the way that what thoughts are going on inside our head that can tighten up and muscles. And then stop, and the knee might drop away a little bit more. If the right shoulder lifts, that's okay. And then bring the knees back up. Draw the right knee in towards you, hand underneath the knee, and ease the knee down. And as you ease the right knee down, lengthen or straighten the left leg along the floor. And if you push down into the left heel, push down into the left heel, and that might help you draw the right knee a little bit closer. And then stop pushing or forcing, and then the right knee might just drop a little bit more. And feel the sensations around the back of the thigh, around the side of the thigh. Wherever you feel it, that's what allows us to be present. And then we're going to draw the left knee in. So take the hands on the knees and just notice, after that relatively short practice, the right leg, right hip might feel a little bit easier. So we're going to do the same on the other side. So bring the hands underneath the left knee, place the right foot on the floor, circle the left ankle. So whatever we're doing with the ankle will help the knee, and that will help the hip. So every part of our body connects. Circle the ankle in the other way, wiggle the toes. And then place the left hand on the left knee and just rock the left knee from side to side, so starting to wake up the hip in the sideways or lateral direction first of all. Before, when you're ready, just start to circle. Imagine that circle drawn on the ceiling above you, and you're tracing that imaginary circle with your knee. And whichever way you've gone, just name that way to yourself, because we're going to go in the other way in a little bit. And it can be big circles or little circles. And then reverse the circle. And then when you're ready, let the left knee drop out to the left, and the hand supports the knee, so you can feel that stretch on the inner thighs, those big strong adductor muscles. So you just let the knee drop away. But if you keep the right hand on the right hip, that stabilises the movement. So just imagine, because it is happening, from the right hip you let the left knee drop away. And then bring the knee back up, let the right hand go on the outside of the left knee, and just bring the left knee over on top of the right knee. So now we're going to stretch along the outside of the left hip, and you can tap with your left hand, just tap that muscle, the outside muscles, just asking the hip to wake up really. And then maybe you can drop the knees over to the right, and with the knuckles of your left hand just rub along the lower back, anywhere that feels quite tight. Really work into it. So we're not trying to ignore any part of us that doesn't feel easy. We're working, and we're working at releasing tension. It's hard, and it's a process. And then when you're ready, you just stop. The knee might drop away a little bit more, and then ease the knee back. Take the hands underneath the left knee, ease the knee down, and if it feels okay in your lower back, lengthen the right leg along the floor. Push down into the right heel, and an engagement down into the right heel may allow you to ease the left knee a little bit closer. Just see if that feels possible. And feel the sensations with the right heel far away to the left knee coming quite close. Stop pushing, stop forcing. And then let go. Draw the left knee in and just rock from side to side. So we just do another thing just to open the hips out sort of externally. So if we bring the feet on the floor, so then if you bring the ankles together, ankles or heels together, and just let the knees drop out. So right knee drops to the right, left knee drops to left. You can place your hands wherever's comfortable for you, but we're not pushing the knees down. And if you feel the stretch on the inner thigh, because it's a big stretch on the adductor muscle. So if you push your heels together, or the parts of the feet that are touching, push them together and push them down into the floor. And you're going to feel all those muscles around your hips tighten up even more. And then consciously tighten up the inner thighs, tighten up the outer thighs, tighten up the buttock muscles. So co-contracting all those muscles that feel quite stretched anyway. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, let go. Let go of all those tight muscles, and you might just feel the hips just drop and the knees just open a little bit more. So stop pushing now and just let gravity do its work. And then when you're ready, the right knee is going to come up. The right foot's on top of the left foot, and the right knee goes over to the left. So we're stretching on the outer thigh Now the outer right hip. And then bring the right knee up. Right knee goes out to the right, then the left knee comes up, left foot on top, and the left knee goes over to the right. See if you can bring the knees together. It's quite impossible, but you know, you're kind of working there. Now you're stretching on the outside of the left hip. Just do that a few times. So leading with that top knee, rolling over to the left. Leading with that top knee, the right knee, rolling over to the right. It's quite a good way to start to work into the muscles of the lower back as well as the hips. And then when you're ready, come back to centre, place your feet on the floor and feel that connection down into the floor. Down, down, down. And then one more time, draw your knees in towards you. Hands on the knees, run underneath the knees and rock from side to side. So again, that just works into those muscles around the lower back. It's quite strong muscles we've been working with. One more thing, place the left foot on the floor, place the right ankle on top of the left knee. So just see how that feels for a few moments. Stay here if this is enough, because we've been doing a lot with our hips. If it feels okay, lift up the left foot and draw. You can take the hands underneath the left thigh and ease the knee in and just rock from side to side. So you're going to really feel that on the outside of the right hip. Or you might feel wherever you feel it. If you feel it in your knees, come out, you know, ease into it. These are good movements for our knees because they strengthen our knees. Putting a little bit of stress into the knees keeps them strong. Then coming back to centre. And then bring the left foot on the floor, draw the right knee in towards you, take the right leg up towards the ceiling, push the heel away, pointing the toes away. Just kind of realigning through that joint, through the knee joint, through the hip, and then give the leg a bit of a shake. This helps the circulation. Then we do the same on the other side. So place the right foot down, place the left ankle on top of the right knee. Make sure you feel okay, because if that's enough, stay there. If you can, lift up the right foot, draw the right knee in towards you. Hands go underneath or through the back of the right thigh and you ease the knee in. So now you feel the stretch on the left hip, can rock a little bit from side to side. That just massages those muscles that you can feel, just eases into them. When we rock or roll around on the floor, we're massaging the muscles that come into contact with it. So it's never a waste of time, it's always good stuff. And then coming back to centre, place the right foot on the floor, draw the left knee in towards you, place the left leg up towards the ceiling, point the toes away, draw the toes towards you, point them away towards you. It just kind of realigns all the movements, all the joints, all the muscles, and then give the leg a bit of a shake, which is always good for circulation, is to shake. It's really good. Good for the nervous system. And then stop, and then place the left foot on the floor. Just for a few moments, just feel how you are. And we're going to roll over onto our side and just come to sit. So the knees are bent. First of all, knees are bent. Just lean back, take the knees a little bit wider, rock the knees from side to side. Just getting used to sitting up really, because we're going to come to stand in a minute. Just rock from side to side. Next time the knees go to the right, stay there. Take the hands either side of that right knee. Stop there for a few moments. If you can, bring the elbows down. So it just helps work into the lower back and the hip again. Then bring the elbows up. Come to centre, let the knees go over to the left, bring the hands either side of the left knee if possible, and if you walk the hands away, if that's enough, don't do any more than that, obviously you stop. If you can, bring the elbows down, but just see where you are. Lift the elbows and come back to centre. Stop there for a few moments, lengthen the legs away and just give your knees a bit of an apology rub after doing all that stuff, because even though I say we're working with the hips, knees can often take a lot of the strain, which is good for knees. So then when you're ready, carefully come up to stand. Take your time. Come up to stand. So we're going to work into tree pose. Right, so the feet are at least hip width apart. Focus your gaze, just let the arms rest down by your sides. Really have a sense of stability from the ground beneath. You can lift the toes, it takes the weight back into the heels. Bring the toes down just slightly, a little bit lift the heels, so it takes the weight forward. Just rocking forward and back, just getting a sense of that movement as you rock. And then come to centre, focus your gaze, we're going to lift up the right heel, we're going to feel the weight rest down into the left foot. Bring the heel down, shift the weight, rebalance the weight, then lift up the left heel, you feel the weight go down into the right foot. So slow it down and then come back to centre. Place the hands on the hips. So this time when we lift up the right heel, feel the hip come up. If you can't, so the right knee is bent, draw the right knee up. So that draws the right hip up. You might feel something in the belly start to lift, so we start to find the postural muscles. And then carefully can you lift the right knee. Keep your gaze focused, remember to breathe. And then lower. If you wobble around a little bit, that's okay. If you need to touch a chair or the wall, it's fine too. Focus your gaze, lift up the left heel. So if you place your hand on the left hip, imagine that left heel, that left knee coming in towards the hip. If you can't feel anything, draw the knee, imagine the knee, or if you place the hand on the thigh, left hand on the left thigh, draw the thigh up. So you feel something inside the hip lift, might feel something inside the belly lift. You tilt, you can feel yourself tilting to the right, and then lift the left knee. Let the weight draw down into the right foot, and then lower. Equalise or rebalance the weight between the feet. Now place the hands, one hand on the centre of the spine, so just below the ribs, the other hand on the top of the head. So we're just trying to find central gravities around here. This is where our balance comes from. So if we draw the right heel up, imagine the right heel coming up through the hip to the centre of the spine. Come up on the very tips of the right toes. Imagine the right knee coming in towards the hip coming in towards the centre of the centre of the spine, drawing all the way up through to the top of the head. And keep that feeling of coming up as you lift the right knee. And then can you open the arms wide, palms facing up. Make sure you're breathing, well done, and then lower the arms, lower the leg, lower the arms. Rebalance the weight through the feet, because you know we're tilting, obviously, really good strengthening exercises for the legs. Then one hand, doesn't matter which hand, on the centre of the spine, the other hand on the crown of the head. So when we lift up the left heel, feel the weight go down into the right foot, but you don't have to push. You can feel the weight adjusting, transferring down into the right foot on the tips, the left toes. Now imagine the left knee coming in towards the left hip drawing up towards the hand on the centre of the spine. From the centre of the spine, imagine that movement coming up through the crown of the head, and lift the knee and take the arms wide. And if you sway or if you shift, you know, it's fine, it's good. And then lower the leg. Right, so draw up the right heel and just rock the right knee from side to side. So it's kind of like what we're doing on the floor, doing the same sort of things. And then we're going to see if we can circle, focus the gaze, circle the right foot round to the left and then round behind. Out and round to the left. You can take the arms out to the side or hold on to something if you need to. So really working into the ankle and the standing leg, the foot, the ankle, the leg. If you can, take the foot off the floor, see how that feels. I'm going to fall over. And then if you can, stop with the right knee out to the right and place the foot. Or it can be lower, just above the ankle. And take the arms up. And let the weight of the arms rest into the shoulders, focus your gaze. Let the weight rest into the standing leg, the left foot. Feel the breath. And then you open the arms, and you come, or lower the arms I should say, and then lower. Focus your gaze, and we're going to lift up the left heel. Rock the knee from side to side. Have a sense of the breath in the centre of your spine supporting you. That's why we did those little exercises earlier. And then see if you can take the leg out to the right, circle round, and round to the left. Circle round. See if you can keep the feeling of the spine coming up from the centre of the spine to the crown of the head and beyond. And then see if you can take the leg up. If not, you keep the foot on the floor. And eventually, maybe the left knee, I'm gonna fall over. The arms go out, the left knee goes out to the left, and you place the foot where it goes. Or the foot may be down by the ankle, see where you are. And the arms come up, but the shoulders rest wide and down. So we're not stretching, we want the weight of the arms to come in towards the centre of the spine. Can we feel as though the knee and the hip can come back to the centre of the spine? So we're strong, and then we open the arms wide, and we're open. And then we take the hands down, and you feel the ground, and you breathe. So we go again, well done, stop there for a few moments, focus your gaze, then we're going to bring up the right heel. So if you place your hands on the centre of the spine, just imagine, if you can't feel anything, just imagine the knee and the hip coming up towards the hands. So it makes you grow. So the opposite movement would be if you sink down towards the standing foot. So if you sink into the standing foot, so your spine compresses a little bit. Now imagine the right knee coming in towards the right hip, the right hip coming up towards the centre of the spine, shoulders widening, crown lifts. Take the right knee out to the side and the right heel rests just above the left ankle. We can open the arms wide, have a sense that we're a lot bigger than we think we are. And then we can draw, if possible, think of that knee, the right knee, coming up towards the right elbow. And you place the foot. And just see where you are. And it's okay if you come out of it, you just start again. And then we take the arms up. And the heel can be just with the left ankle, if that's enough. Focus your gaze, and the spine is coming up away from the floor. Then we lower the arms, we lower the leg, and we come out. Rebalance the weight between the feet. And then one more time, we lift the left heel, and we take the left knee out to the side, and the left heel comes just where the right ankle is. And stop there for a few moments, and connect that knee back to the hip. So we're not dropping the knee away. Can we feel as though the knee can come into the hip? And once we feel as though something inside here engages or is strong, then we can let the knee drop away. Then we can let the arms come out. But something inside the centre of your spine is engaged, and then we can lift the left foot up. You can use your hands if you like, or you just use the strength of the hips. Focus your gaze, make sure you're breathing, and then we take the arms up. But the weight of the arms rests down. And we feel the breath, and we feel really tall and really wide and really big, and the roots from the feet go down to the floor, and the fingertips travel up towards the sky, and then we open wide and we expand. And as the arms come down, the leg can come down if it hasn't already, and you stop and you feel the ground beneath the feet, and you feel strong. And you can place the hands on the chest and just allow the breath to settle, allow the shoulders to feel wide. And then we're going to take the gaze towards the ground, soften the knees, and bring the hands onto the knees and let go of the weight of your head. The hands might come a little bit lower to the ankles, and the spine can be quite rounded, the knees can be quite bent. And you feel the outside edges of the feet and the inside edges of the feet. Maybe you can bring the hands onto the floor. The knees can be quite bent, and then see if you can walk the hands forward a little bit. Maybe you can walk the feet back a little bit to go into a down dog sort of shape, and the elbows can soften and the weight of the head can rest. Imagine the crown of the head going forward past the fingertips and the heels resting back towards the floor. And then from here, when you're ready, you lift the heels to bring the knees down, and see is it possible to ease the hips back towards the heels. You can make like fists with the hands to support the head, or the forehead might come to the floor. See what's possible for you, because you only do what your body says. And then bringing yourself back up, just come to centre. We'll just try one more thing. So we've done tree pose with the hip rotated outward standing, so we'll just try that sitting. So if you lean back, we've done it lying down already, so if you bring the feet together, the ankles or the heels together, and just let the knees drop out, so they can be quite far away from you at first, and then maybe just that little thing, so one knee goes on top of the other, then open out, then the other knee goes on top, and then open out. So just see how that feels, and then stop. See if the knees can go wide, but not pushing the knees. And if, like we did when we were on the floor, if you contract the inner thighs, contract the outer thighs, push the feet down into the floor, So you co-contract all those muscles that are being stretched and then let go. And then the knees might drop a little bit more. And then lift the knees, send them away. Just shift a little bit. So just go away. If it's okay, we'll do one more time. So if you bring the knees a little bit closer, ankles a little bit closer, and just let the knees drop out. And just see, is it possible, can you bring your hands forward towards the feet? You can take hold of your feet if you like, or just have the hand resting either side of the feet in front. Just see what feels right for you. I'll just change the camera a sec, I'll just bring it down. So just see what feels right for you. So instead of leaning back, see if we can take the hands forward. So you can round the spine, you can draw the chin down, you can lift the knees, it's fine. Don't ever push your knees down because it's your hips that we're working. And then do that thing again, you can push the heels down into the floor and tense up the inner thigh muscles, tense up the outer thigh muscles. And then let go. And the knees might drop away a little bit more. Just see where you are. And then lean back, carefully take the legs forward and just point the toes in and then point the toes out, just gently. So when you point the toes in, you've just gone in the opposite direction. Before we were externally rotating, now when you point the toes in, the hips internally rotate. So you're just doing the opposite little movement with the hips. And then when you're ready, carefully, just come to lie down. An awful lot of work with your hips. Just come to lie down and keep your knees bent if it's okay. And if you place your hands on your hips, just stop for a few moments and imagine you can allow your lower back to settle and to widen and rest into the floor. Now you can keep your knees bent or you can lengthen the legs away. If there's any discomfort in your lower back, you keep the knees bent, you can take the knees a little bit wider, you can drop the knees in because they're the opposite move, that's the opposite move to what we were doing before. Otherwise you can have the legs long or you can keep the knees bent in a comfortable way. If it's alright, take your arms down by your side, palms facing up. And beneath closed lids, take your attention to your eyes. And imagine your eyes widening, corners of the eyes widening. The outer corners, the inner corners. And take your attention to your shoulders and imagine the shoulders, the outer edges of your shoulders widening to make more space on the inside. And take your attention to the ribs, the outer edges, the sides of the ribs, and imagine the ribs widening, expanding. And take your attention down through to your hips, the outer edges of the hips, and imagine your hips widening and expanding. More space. And then moving your attention all the way down through to your heels, the outer edges of the heels and the outer edges of the feet. And imagine your feet widening inside. And when you breathe in, it's a long, deep, slow breath into all those outer edges of the body. And as you breathe out, you allow your body to rest and settle and find the floor and the support beneath. And then your breath comes into that wide open body. And the breath expands inside and makes space everywhere. And then as you breathe out, you just settle. And the body is allowed to rest a little bit more because we can always rest a little bit more than we think we can. And we find the support beneath. And we breathe. And we're with ourselves. And then the next time you breathe in, if it's okay, take your arms up and stretch the arms away. Stretch the legs away if they're straight. And then as you breathe out, bring the arms back down. Move the shoulders, move your hands, move your toes. Keep your eyes closed if it's okay as you start to move. You can draw the knees in towards you, just slightly rock, move from side to side, doing really what feels right for you and taking your time, because you can always choose to stay longer resting. And eventually you come over onto your side, opening the eyes when you're ready, and coming to sit up.